So ideological division has been growing over the last 10 years, notably in the West. The left and the right are getting bigger and the center is getting smaller. And so I said this after the midterms. This is something to keep in mind for when we're voting in 2020. A mere day after the midterms, and at this time they hadn't even been fully counted, I'm already seeing people be scolded for how they voted. Again, I know a segment of the country is cultivating a reverse meritocracy here, and it's true in many ways. We are becoming an idiocracy. If you're arguing for censorship and you're calling yourself a libertarian, yeah, there's a bit of a intellectual congruity issue there. But I say to people, didn't you learn anything from 2016? Didn't you learn anything? Seriously now. Okay, so we can't guilt other people for their opinion, how they vote, for example. They're not causing any problems. They are making a decision. Okay, now of course, if somebody votes in a tyrannical dictator or somebody that causes some catastrophic event, yeah, there's an association there. But literally the day after the 2016 election for President of the United States, in which I voted for Green Party candidate Jill Stein and her VP Ajamu Baraka, I was being called out for, of course, as the social justice disciples do, my white privilege, because their chosen candidate, Hillary Clinton, one of the worst candidates ever to stand for the presidency, ever, okay, lost. Okay, you know, the robot that had the exoskeleton backpack and the sort of strange voice and the propensity to be thrown into the backs of vans like a sack of potatoes, that candidate. Okay? The one that took money from Goldman Sachs, the one that WikiLeaks emails made look, and her entire campaign and her campaign manager and everybody she was associated with made him look pretty bad. And I know that if the Republicans faced a similar crisis of transparency, you'd see the same thing, of course, to some degree. But don't widen the ideological divide. Don't widen animosity. We need to come together to solve the problems we have. The answer isn't on the right or the left. It's somewhere in between. Both sides have the right answers for different issues, but in general, it can't even be defined in a dualistic sense, in a binary sense. I consider it a political sphere. And I'd also do like to frame things more as authoritarian versus libertarian than right versus left. But the reality is that people do look at certain things as right and certain things as left. I say that free speech, of course, is not a partisan issue, and it should be allowed to be as broad as possible, regardless of your political affiliation. But I do, of course, see a trend in the disciples of the censorship. I do see a trend on one particular side, because I'm seeing that when the people that they disagree with are banned, they're fine. They're totally fine. But of course, you know what they say? First they came for Alex Jones, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't Alex Jones. And then they came for Paul Joseph Watson, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't Paul Joseph Watson. And then they came for Laura Loomer, and I didn't say anything because I was not Laura Loomer. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. No one left to advocate. They'd all been removed. All voices of dissent and of questioning the authority. So, don't scold, don't create hatred and fear and panic because people disagree with you. It's important that you're not living in an echo chamber. and then I'm not. I try to stay away from echo chamber thinking. It is more comfortable at times to stay within a certain ideological echo chamber, but I try to keep multiple things going. Like if you're on Twitter, you're going to see a bias towards the left. If you're on a site like Gab at this time, you're going to see a bias towards the right, but I'd like to see that change. I think that you should get on Gab. You should check out the Dissenter app. I believe it used to be a Google extension, but you can go to www.dissenter.com and you can comment on any URL online. So free speech, even if a comment section is removed from a website or article or a video, and comments are often disabled on YouTube content, we know that now. You can comment on that URL using Dissenter. And I do say we want to keep the conversation open and we want to keep it as broad as possible. We don't want to have guilt by association, or as my friend Tyler says, guilt by conversation. We don't want to look at people and go by ethos over logos. We want to focus on logic, rationality, and reason. We don't want to focus on who the person is. We want to focus on what their argument is. And make a distinction from there after some debate, some good faith debate, about which solution is better applied to our problems.